All right, so I'm doing my presentation on 1970s UK glam rock influence on 1980s US hair metal. Glam rock is a type of rock music that originated in the UK in the 1970s. The music style incorporated aspects from bubblegum pop, 1950s rock and roll, and experimental rock with frequent guitar riffs from the hard rock style, along with rhythmic and melodic flows from the 1950s rock and roll. There were also lots of repetitive hooks and melodies that people would sing along to and made it appealing to the audiences. Glam rock artists wanted to create a new culture and style of music that went against the mainstream rock styles. They also tried to target a younger, white middle class audience, especially teenagers, and advertised for rebellion and going against the status quo and building on the aspects from the 1950s rock and roll. In glam rock, there wasn't typically that big of an interest in singing about serious political points or giving their songs a super deep meaning. Rather, their songs were more of an escape from all those aspects and focus on letting loose and singing about fame, stardom, money, sex, and drugs, and like other topics. One big aspect of glam rock is fashion, because fashion is what separated glam rock from other genres of rock. Glam rock focuses a lot on their performers' appearance, such as showy, over-the-top costumes and makeup that makes them stand out. Rock and roll artists like Little Richard helped inspire the showy outfits and performances of glam rock artists. However, glam rock artists took it a step further with their over-the-top outfits and costumes that audiences couldn't look away from. Some glam rock artists would dress up in these costumes, create a new person and stage cover up that isn't associated with their personal identity. One example of this is Ziggy Stardust, which is David Bowie's performance character. These fashion styles played a huge part in influencing the fashion styles of 1980s hair metal bands in the US. One band that had a big influence on 1980s hair metal was Hanoi Rocks. And Hanoi Rocks was a British glam rock band in the 1970s and 80s that modeled the true glam rock style with their over-the-top and distinct fashion style, with their use of heavy metal music style and the use of their electric guitar riffs and drums. They also had a very energetic stage presence in getting the audience into the music. This video is from one of their performances from 1985 where they performed their song Tragedy. Yeah, it's just a little short clip of Hanoi Rocks, and you can see their showy and flamboyant outfits and energy they present to the crowd. They also use that heavy metal style in their song with loud electric guitar riffs and loud high-pitched singing, although they didn't get to that part of the video. This style of music and fashion that Hanoi Rocks portrays really had an influence on American hair metal bands and helped popularize hair metal and its origins on the Sunset Strip in Los Angeles. So now we get into 1980s hair metal in the US, and the 1980s hair metal adopted the appearance and style of the 1970s glam rock from the UK. Hair metal adopted a lot of the glam rock styles with showy outfits and costumes, along with some aspects of the musical style of frequent guitar riffs and improvisation with the electric guitar instrumentations. However, hair metal included a lot more heavy metal and hard rock instrumentation and incorporation of pop melodies and hooks. There were also lots of shred guitar solos where the performer will do some improvisation over the electric guitar in the middle of a song and typically use sliding notes up and down the guitar. And the vocals from hair metal artists include a combination of a few aspects of glam rock, such as the use of high pitches and smooth melodies. Some of the 1980s hair metal songs would incorporate ballads that would start out slow and sentimental, and then it would gradually build up over the course of the song to a more powerful and energetic tone. And these were called power ballads. And typically, other songs would be a little more aggressive and fast with lyrics about love, lust, partying, drugs, and other topics. And because hair metal really fit the persona of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You can also see the adoption of the authentic fashion styles from the glam rock with Motley Crue, which is pictured in the middle, Rat pictured on the left, and on the right is Poison. The Sunset Strip and MTV had a big influence in popularizing 1980s hair metal. The hair metal's origin started in Los Angeles along the Sunset Strip, and the Sunset Strip was a certain section of the Sunset Boulevard with clubs, music venues, and a hotel where rock artists would stay and play their music. It was a very hectic scene with lots of partying, drugs, and hard rock. The Sunset Strip is where a lot of the hair metal bands started to play and become popular, such as Motley Crue. And tons of other rock bands and artists would come to the Sunset Strip for the big party and social scene to play their music and just have fun. Some of these bands were like The Doors, Led Zeppelin, Van Halen, and many others would stay along the strip and play their music. Places like The Trip, Whiskey A Go Go, and Starwood were very popular places along the strip. And lead singer of Motley Crue, Vince Neil, said this quote about the scene of Sunset Strip from Richard Beinstock's article in Rolling Stone. Neil said, "We'd get drunk, do crazy amounts of cocaine, and walk the circuit in stiletto heels, stumbling all over the place. The Sunset Strip was a cesspool of depravity," which that statement really encapsulates like the Sunset Strip view. And MTV was a big influence on the popularization of hair metal. MTV gave a lot of artists a platform to showcase their music to a larger audience. This was big for hair metal because their new fashion style and rock music appealed to the teen and young adult audiences that were watching MTV. The show Headbangers Ball gave their metal artists a platform to showcase their music and reach that larger audience that gave them a lot of popularity. Hair metal music videos would also often appear at the top of MTV's daily dial countdown. Now we talk about Motley Crue, which is a big American 80s hair metal band. They originated in Los Angeles, California in the early 1980s and gained a lot of popularity through MTV, displaying their music and showing the band's appearance of their long hair and showy outfits that fit the same fashion style of the 70s glam rock artists. They also found a lot of success and popularity through the Sunset Strip because the band fit the true persona of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Their music style was upbeat and energetic with various electric guitar riffs and solos. Their vocals also range from regular smooth melodic pitch to a very loud and aggressive high pitch. Here's a performance of one of their songs, Don't Go Away, Mad. Let's get to like the middle of it. All right, well, it's buffering some, but I think you can get the point of like you can see the glam rock style influence because of their like rock star style of fashion with their unique style of clothing and makeup, wearing weird styles of leather pants and vests with their long hair. Kickstart My Heart was one of their most popular songs that uses that hard rock and heavy metal style influence of glam rock with the loud electric guitar riffs along with the high-pitched vocals. It also incorporates the rebellious teenager aspect in their lyrics because the song incorporated the running from the authorities and a car chase and like daredevil aspects that appeal to the rebellious teenager. So here's Kickstart My Heart. I can only play that short clip because we're running out of time, but what the hell am I doing? But yeah, from the song, it also includes the narrative of sex and that girls appeal to rebellious and badass character. And I also noticed that the electric guitar in the beginning of the song also sounds like a car revving its engine and speeding away from the cops as if they're in a high-speed chase. And so Motley Crue really encapsulates the true party heavy rock star style of the 1980s. One last band we'll look at is Rat, which was another popular 1980s hair metal band. Rat originated out of Los Angeles in the early 1980s, and they incorporated a lot of the same hard rock and heavy metal music styles of Motley Crue and other hair metal bands. They incorporate a lot of pop-styled hooks and aggressive heavy metal instrumentation style and guitar riffs and guitar solos. They released their first studio album in 1984 titled Out of the Cellar, which brought them a lot of success and popularity, especially with their hit song Round and Round, which was number 12 on the Billboard charts. A lot of their success came from being played on radio and being featured on MTV with their hit song Round and Round. And the Round and Round music video was featured on MTV, and it advertised them to a larger audience, especially a young teenage audience, because of the band's portrayal of going against the fancy and elegant status quo. This also goes hand in hand with the era of teenage freedom and rebellion. So here's the Round and Round music video. So yeah, from the video, you can see the classy, wealthy white middle class setting that is challenged by Rat's loud and rhythmic music that rebels against the traditional white middle class ideals. You can also see their long hair and flamboyant fashion that resembles the fashion of the 70s glam rock, and young adults and teens appeal to this message of wanting to rebel and be different from the elegant narrative and just kind of let loose. So, I mean, all in all, like, hair metal did start to lose its popularity with the emergence of grunge and punk rock, but Motley Crue, Rat, and the other hair metal artists, their use of the 70s glam rock fashion styles and incorporation of hard rock and heavy metal music did give these bands their distinct sound and music style that was very prominent in the 1980s. So that will conclude my presentation, and thank you.